Oh, hi.
Hello.
Welcome to Nerdherder.
yes, it's our final recap of Star Wars Celebration, unfortunately.
Yes.
So we finished day 5, which was big and small. And so this is where we just want to spend some time talking to you guys, sharing what we did and what went on, and our take on things as we've done in previous videos.
Yeah.
But we will be doing a lot more Star Wars Celebration conversations for the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about it on our podcast where we dive a little bit more and see if from initial responses to now, if anything's changed. And we're also just going to open the floor to talk more about our opinions on certain things. Most of these recap videos were just delivery methods of here's what happened, here's what we thought of it initially. So the podcast is going to be a little bit more open. And then we're also going to do dedicated videos to everything where we just sit down and talk episode 9. We sit down and just talk about Mandalorian, and so forth and so on. We'll cover that more in the end, but that's just so you know what you're getting into here. And so this is all about Monday from Star Wars Celebration, the last day. It's a weird emotional tornado because
Yeah.
it's as fun as every day, but it's the last day.
I know I had a lot of fun.
Yes.
Lying in bed. Sick.
Yeah. Something at dinner apparently
Yeah.
got back at you, and so I had to fly solo.
Here's the thing, dear restaurants out there. If I want to know what's in the food, it's not because I want your secret recipe and want to do it at home. It's because I have allergies.
Yeah.
And I have very sensitive allergies that could put me in bed for a day if I eat something wrong.
Yeah, and whereas some places are nice about some things, sometimes consideration isn't always given to other things, and it's a but.
Yeah, it is a but.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put it.
And so it's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
So you had the BedCon.
Yes, I had BedCon.
BedCon 2019.
I was texting you the whole time, being like, "What you doing now?"
Yeah, we were back and forth. I kept her updated and whatnot,
Yeah.
and thank goodness for live streams.
Yes.
That's helpful. I know we didn't really take much advantage of it. We watched a few of the panels, obviously, while waiting in line and whatnot. But I know that was much more helpful to people at home. But it came in handy yesterday.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I got there early. I tried once again. If you follow us on Twitter, you know we talked and said, like, hey, there's exclusive books. We want to get some, and we want to be able to do a giveaway so we can share that awesomeness with you guys. We tried. Every day. And the last day, our friend Tom at Del Rey told us, come first thing early.
Yeah, can we just state how wild that is once again? Our friend Tom at Del Rey. Hi, Tom.
And he said just come early. Unclaimed stuff will roll over to the next day, so we'll maybe have some more wristbands and whatnot and more to claim.
They was claimed.
And it's unfortunate. It's great for those people that get to enjoy that, and it's a great piece to own.
Yeah.
Our main upset was, again, we wanted to share it mostly. We got the regular copies, and we're fine with that. The main thing is we wanted to be able to share it with you guys and those who may not have an opportunity to get those things. And so it's a bit of a letdown there, but yeah, we did try. Unfortunately, we handled it every day, but yesterday, the last day, I handled it thankfully better than a couple of guys, a couple of scalpers. Really, they get this to then turn around and sell at a higher price,
which is fine, but at the same time, understand that this is a gift. This is something very important to some people
for different reasons. Yeah, I get, this is your business. It is legitimate, but
at the same time,
people will pay for. I mean, we paid a little extra to get a couple of exclusives that we missed out on.
Yeah.
And we're thankful to the people that make it their business to get these things to sell to us. I mean, it's a business.
But at the same time, if you understand that there is a limited stock. Oops.
And berating, bullying, and just being belligerent to the staff that work the booths and whatnot is not okay. And I went up and commended and spoke with Tom and the ladies that run the booth and just told them, like, you guys are absolutely amazing for how you handled it. They didn't even call security or eject him, which is what I would have done, but, you know...
And also decked him in the face.
When I went up and complimented and said how well they handled that, they were like, well, I mean, he's got the rest of the day to work it off. We don't want to take away the whole experience. And that's just... That's so a high road. and that's something that not a lot of people... I mean, you know, we just admitted we couldn't have done in the heat of the moment. And so it was really nice of them the way they handled it.
And that's why they're Jedi.
and we're Sith. But all that to say, we missed out. We're so sorry. But we're going to try and find some other things to make Celebration special for others and share that with others. Just keep an eye on our social media and we'll see what we can work out. But so yeah, I went early, did that. Missing out on that, I really didn't have a chance to do much else, so I went to work. I found a nice little quiet corner and started working on editing yesterday's video. And so if you watch that, that was all done on the floor of Celebration, so technically a Celebration exclusive.
Technically.
It was really funny because a few people came up and like watched me editing, which was weird. But I got to brag about the software in the app that we use, which I absolutely love. It's LumaFusion, if you want to check it out. It's video editing and posting dream.
Yeah, that's what we've been using for our entirety of our YouTube and Patreon thing.
Yeah.
Is LumaFusion, and it's been fantastic.
It's fantastic. The app and software is fantastic. The Wi-Fi was not. And so while it doesn't take a lot of bandwidth to edit, it does to upload. And I could not get it to upload, which is why it was late yesterday. But other than that, I worked on that. And the whole while, luckily, again, thanks for live streams, I was able to watch the Phantom Menace panel while doing that. And, you know, it's crazy because as much as Celebration was special about Episode 9 and The Mandalorian and Fallen Order and Clone Wars and all these exclusive future events, getting first looks at those and celebrating those.
Yeah.
It was... Go ahead.
No, keep going.
For me, it was as much about the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And the celebration of that and taking a moment to recognize the significance of it being 20 years old.
Yeah.
Because, you know...
It's a whole person.
Yeah, I had already lived with Star Wars for about 5 years before the Phantom Menace. And I already loved Star Wars, the original trilogy, and I've been sharing with people on Twitter, even the Ewok movies and the holiday special. I grew up with those. They were enjoyed very differently, yeah, but they were part of what made me fall in love with Star Wars. And I mean, I just recycled. I would go from Episode 6 to Ewok's Adventures, and then I would watch the holiday special, and then I'd watch Empire. Like, it was just Star Wars in different order for me as a kid.
Yeah.
And then I find out there's going to be more. We're going to find out about Anakin. We're going to go to this place. And the first one I got to see in theaters was The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And that was a birthday thing between me and my mom. That was super, super special. And The Phantom Menace coming out and creating hundreds of toys is the reason that I got to buy toys in an actual store instead of buying them secondhand or finding them in the dump, as you love to remind people. I did get toys from the dumpster at the trailer park as a child. I did what I could.
I've seen the dumpster. It's a very nice dumpster.
Yeah, every time, we lived in Savannah where I grew up for a while, and we'd pass it, and every time I'd say, that's the dumpster.
It's the same dumpster 20 years later.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, like, I got my first lightsaber from a dumpster. I got my first Han Solo blaster with rusted battery pack. Like, it didn't even work anymore, but I got that from the dumpster. I got a little Stormtrooper Kenner figure from the dumpster.
Yeah.
And everything else came from Salvation Army thrift stores and Goodwills. And it wasn't until the Phantom Menace toy line that I bought my first Star Wars toy. Well, really, my mom bought it, but
yeah.
And I remember it was Kmart, and I got the first day I got a Qui-Gon, an Obi-Wan, a Darth Maul, and I got 7 security battle droids, because when Phantom Menace came out, I loved battle droids.
They're incredible.
We
They're so
we
fun.
love droids, and that's
Yeah.
pretty clear if you listen to and watch enough of our stuff.
Yeah.
I loved battle droids, and I especially loved the ones with the little red markings. And so I just asked my mom, like, and that's mostly what they had on shelf. I was just like, can I just have all of them? And she bought me 7 battle droids that day.
That's so cool.
I did the same thing for Revenge of the Sith.
Mm-hmm.
I bought 20 clone troopers at Walmart.
Because clone troopers are awesome.
Army building, dude. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
did you want to say something?
Like, I still remember the line at KB Toys at the mall when the Phantom Menace released the toys. We did not get through to the back of the store because that's where all of the toys were lined up. For like 30 minutes we were waiting in line and nothing was there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's my main memory from Star Wars toys, except there was a original, well, it was new at that time. There was a Darth Maul lightsaber that my dad bought for my brothers. I got hit with that lightsaber so many times.
Much.
But Darth Maul is still my favorite character. And I realized while you were talking, I think I realized why I love him so much. It's because he's half droid.
There you go.
There you go. And he's cool looking and he's half droid. That's all you need to be my favorite character.
Yeah. And one of my mom's favorite stories, particularly about Christmas and Star Wars, was always about Phantom Menace toys.
She had told that story so much.
Yeah, all the time. She loved. So the Christmas after the Phantom Menace releases, my mom had been spending months just accumulating these things because, again, like you said, like, stuff would go.
Yeah.
And
Mom was a planner.
She and I didn't go in understanding the excitement and whatnot of the toys.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why there was 7 battle droids and a couple of figures, like, because we didn't go expecting like all of it to be gone and all this other, so that's what she did, is she just accumulated these things for months, and kept them hidden from me. She wrapped them and everything, and it was like a couple weeks before Christmas and I was homesick. I got real sick, and so I stayed home, and I'm doing what any kid does when they're bored and just explore.
Yes.
I'm just looking around, and all of a sudden I find some presents.
Yes.
And so I just start opening things.
Of course.
Because no one was there to tell me not to. And so yeah, I'm just opening, and it's all of these just amazing Phantom Menace and Star Wars toys and all of this great stuff. I had the big goober fish with Qui-Gon. I had the comlink thing that read the little cards. I had so many figures with the cards. I had Rick Ollier, C.O. Bibble, so many. Like, I had so much stuff. And clearly it was a Christmas present, and I didn't care. I start opening stuff. I open the comlink, and I want to play with it and use the little scanner to hear the voice memos and whatnot, and it doesn't come with batteries. Mm-hmm. And so, me being the stupid kid that I am, I call my mom to ask where screwdrivers and batteries are so that I can get this thing working. And she's like, what are you trying to put batteries in? And I explained to her what it is. And that was a big mistake.
Yes.
I still got to enjoy everything.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't open anything for Christmas that year because I already did like 3 weeks in advance. But the feeling of being surrounded with Phantom Menace toys and whatnot was special, and those things were special. And some of those things I actually got to buy again this week. I rebought the comlink thing. If you listen to an episode a while back, I believe it's Holo Chronicles asked us, what our favorite toys are. Mm-hmm. And, I shared one, but I said, one of my favorites is, back in the day they had Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul figures that had a button on the back that they would do an action if you pressed it. And to be even fancier, you could hook a lightsaber hilt to them, and press the button that way. And so it was a way of you and friends, even though I didn't have those as a kid, to, play. And I'm just walking the show floor, and all of a sudden I see the Darth Maul one, and I snag it, and I'm talking to the dude, and I'm like, dude, you have no idea. This is my childhood. This is so special. I've lost these so long ago. And he's like, well, I've got the Obi-Wan if you want it. And I was like, yes, please. He went through box after box to try and find the Qui-Gon for me too, and it was just super, super sweet because he could tell how special it was, and it was special to be able to recapture that part 20 years ago of my life. And and then at dinner, he didn't find the Qui-Gon, but then at dinner, someone sent me a link to Etsy of someone who was selling an in-package Qui-Gon, so that I could complete my set. And
there we go.
20 years later, to put myself back in that place as a kid of like, oh my gosh, Star Wars is amazing, and to have that same emotional excitement and whatnot, because that was the first of many times me and my mom sat in a theater watching Star Wars. And 20 years later, I can't do that. So it's really special. And so I don't think I expected how emotionally amazing Celebration's last day would be, to hear the guys that made this thing I love talking about it 20 years later, celebrating it 20 years later, and to be able to go home with pieces of it 20 years later. It was an amazing morning, an amazing moment. I remember it being a lot more acrobatic.
It's over, Anakin. I mean, I have the high ground. I'm not left-handed, but Darth Maul's on this side, so this is the side that I will use. It's closed.
Hey, John. Where did Palpatine get his cool shoes? He got them at the Darth Maul. They were half off. Go back. I miss you.
Whack, 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 whacking in Chicago.
Stop
whack,
it.
whack, whack,
Stop.
whack, whacking in Chicago.
So from there, did a little bit more shopping on my way to an autograph session with Sam Witwer. So I was just walking the floor, and the great thing about Monday, last day, weekday, it was much calmer, lot fewer people where you could just leisurely walk through and you weren't constantly snaking your way through traffic. It was really nice. And it gave me an opportunity to see more faces, which was nice. I was looking for quite a few people that I knew were there that I wanted to meet, and couldn't get everybody.
Like we said, we've been looking for Ben Brophy for the longest time.
Yeah.
Because he's our favorite
And
Chief
he
artist.
ended up finding us.
Yeah.
We were looking for a friend of the show, Michael Marisi. And
busy.
I was literally following his tweets and like, oh, he took a picture here, I'm gonna go there now. And it's just like, because we'd never met him, he lives here, so it's not like we could coordinate much of a meet, but missed out on that. But by pure happenstance, I actually just walked past Alex Damon from Star Wars Explained and got to talk to him a little bit and tell him how much of an influence and inspiration he was for us to start this. We have always enjoyed their videos, and it's been a way that I've introduced you to information. And
that's how I know most things, is either you explaining it or Alex and Molly explaining it.
Right, and it's quick research too, and it's just, we enjoy them and their personalities and whatnot. And when we were kind of debating on would anyone want us to do anything, would anybody listen or watch or whatnot, we kind of looked to them as an example of like, they're just doing their thing and people love that, so we'll find our audience, and we have. So it was nice to be able to say, hey, thank you for just being you, I guess. I mean, you inspired us without even really trying.
Thank you, Molly, for being gorgeous and a great cosplayer.
Yeah. And so yeah, so then I got to go to an autograph session with Sam Witwer. I met a great guy, Jerry from Game Infinite, who has a YouTube channel, podcast, blog stuff that you can find on YouTube and Instagram and such.
We met the day before a very entertaining New Jersey cop.
He was something.
He was something.
Yeah, me and Jerry chatted about games and obviously The Force Unleashed to be on brand and
Yes.
a lot more. Really great guy and helped. You know, those are the times, like, again, if you're in line waiting for something and you're a Disney fan or Star Wars fan,
Talk to people.
talk to people because you'll find something in common and it helps the time go. Because we were in line for about an hour.
Yeah, and like when we were in line yesterday talking to New Jersey cop, we actually gave him some advice about going to Disney.
Yeah.
He went in July.
Yeah, we gave
Poor
some
sweet
recommendations. But yeah, so it helped the time go by quick. The reason it took so long is much like the other half of Mall, Ray Park, Sam Witwer is also amazing with conversation and talking to fans. Jerry was ahead of me, and when Jerry went up, it was his first day and only day at Celebration. And he told Sam that, because Sam asked, like, what's been your favorite part of Celebration so far? And he's like, meeting you, because that's all I've done so far. And he was like, oh, well, ask me anything. You know, open up the floor. Let's make it worth it for you. And they got to chat a little bit about The Force Unleashed, which was awesome, because he told him, like, you know, that's what I love you from and know you from. And just sweet. It was awesome. And obviously that extended, so when I got the chance to go up, I, again, much like with Ray Park, had to explain why he was signing it this way. And he just loved the idea of being a trash husband.
Yes, and we can put up a picture here of the pop that he signed and how Ray Park signed it. I'm half the husband I used to be, and then turned it to the side, and you've got in gold, in beautiful handwriting, from Trash Husband. Sam Witwer.
So he loved that, and you know, I just explained, like, hey, my wife, who this is for, would have loved to be here and meet you. She loves Maul. You're one of her favorite parts of the Clone Wars, other than the clones.
Yes.
You know,
I'm a simple woman.
It was his name and whatnot that helped kind of pull you in a little bit, and knowing that he, as Maul, was going to show up eventually. You know, that, and you constantly reminded me, like, oh, the Being Human guy.
Yeah, because I had watched Being Human years before. Like, I watched all the way through the UK version with Aidan Turner and just some amazing actors. And then when I found out that there was a US version, of course I wanted to watch that too. Because you got Sam Huntington, you've got Sam Witwer, and you have a great cast there too. And if you've never watched Being Human, watch it. It's better than Vampire Diaries. I will say that to the day I die. I don't like Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, and in that he played a vampire
named Aiden.
And what was funny is he actually told someone else that we were, while in line vicinity to, they had brought it was a 2-pack of the Seventh Sister and Maul from the Rebels line. And he pointed out the interesting Easter egg in that the Seventh Sister was played by I think Buffy the Vampire Slayer, who is the real life wife of Freddie Prinze Jr., who played Kanan in that. And he said, and that's me, obviously, and I played a vampire for 4 years in Being Human. So
and he did it beautifully.
Yeah, so he got to meet the vampire killer and live. So that was something, like, the waves crossing that I never caught. So that was one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, you've yet to watch Being Human with me.
Yeah. But yeah, so you know, I got to say, you know, like, when she found out who you were and everything, and that she'd already had a connection with you from some of your other work, she was sold and she was in, and we talk about it every week on our podcast. And he was like, oh, you have a podcast? And I was like, yeah, we started it a year ago. My mom passed away, and we wanted to do something that gave us joy. You know, when you have that kind of event in your life, that joy kind of goes away for a while. And we wanted to do something to bring that back. And Star Wars clearly is meaningful to us, and it was a central piece of the relationship with my mom and whatnot. And so Star Wars, talking about Star Wars constantly was the thing we came up with. And so we did that. And, his response and his willingness to listen and hear that out, he took a button from our he was like, do you have anything from your podcast on? So I gave him a button, and I doubt he'll ever listen. I don't care if he ever listens. He listened to me in that moment, heard my story, heard about your story, and, he saw us, he saw me and saw our love and shared that, met that, responded with that.
Yeah.
And that's enough. And that's what we talked about, a lot, is that it's very easy to get self-conscious of, these people are here because they get paid to be. What are they going to think? They're probably going to think I'm one of those weird fans, or just like, how could these people waste their life and money on this stuff? But in reality, they understand. They understand the love and share it. And so having those moments where it's a big reminder that, oh, you love this thing so much, it's great to hear because I loved it. When he said, I was being human for 4 years, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. It was the first family I had before coming to Clone Wars. And that was a big special moment, because it was like with Ray Park saying, I'm so thankful for Clone Wars bringing back Maul, because it's gotten to bring me back to Maul. And that's the humanity behind the actor, and that's the passion behind the actor that is so great to share in those moments.
Yeah.
And so whether it was photos or autographs, the time we got to spend with these people and say, hey, we love this, and it's like, great, because I love it too. That's been a big highlight of our celebration. It's why we wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Because we don't know if we're ever going to do this again.
Yeah, we're definitely not going to Anaheim next year.
Sorry. Rebecca. I know it's 20 minutes away from you, but it's California. It's a little bit bigger of a trek than this, and we're going to be working this off for a while with the Mouse Overlords. So but well spent, well worth it. So, but
definitely.
Yeah, so that was amazing. Met some great cosplayers, droid builders. Got to go around and see some I hadn't seen yesterday, which was really great. One fun thing I got to do also was I finally got to get into the Galaxy's Edge square on the celebration floor. Normally we would walk the perimeter of it and see inside what we could see. Yesterday the line was short, so I went in fully to do that, and so got a couple of pictures there, got to see some of the merchandise, some of which we have already kind of seen and whatnot, but it was really cool. And I got to, at the end, record a video talking about how excited I am for Galaxy's Edge and to be living in Star Wars at some point, and that might end up at Galaxy's Edge in a video montage with a bunch of other people who are as excited as I am. And so that's great. That's great to know that there's going to be so many people celebrating Galaxy's Edge and Star Wars world, coming. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And something I gotta say, going back slightly to cosplayers and droid builders, something that kind of had an impact on me personally this week was seeing cosplayers. And I know that's small and silly, but there's cosplayers everywhere. But something that I personally am I'm not gonna say I'm super self-conscious about it, but it's kind of kept me from pursuing, building the clone armor that I want to eventually do. I'm a little short for a stormtrooper. I'm 5'4", which isn't short, it's average, but I see, the 6'5" Fordo that we met at the library, and I was like, oh, I'm incredibly short for a clone trooper. And just that's what kept me from kind of pursuing it for the longest time. But looking around at Celebration and seeing people of all different shapes and sizes and
and
really
ethnicities
and so many different types of customization. We saw a Hamilton clone stormtrooper.
Well, you've got the very literal, you've got the comedic, you've got the fan interpretation.
You got the Deadpool walking around with squeaky boobs.
you've got combinations. So many great ideas. There's no right or wrong way to do it, and that was on full display there the entire time. Because I stood in line with a 13-year-old who clearly customized with cardboard his Starkiller outfit, and a guy who probably spent several $1,000s on a professional one. And both of them being able to say, hey, dude, nice costume. You too. And us all being able to appreciate all of them as well. Yeah. That's the beauty of cosplay and stepping into the shoes and helmet and armor and whatnot of these characters you love, is to say, like, you know, and to say, like, oh, Wilbur Hood's black, why is a white guy doing it? Well, because it doesn't matter. Or, oh, you know, Anakin's, you know, white, why is a black guy doing that? Because it doesn't matter.
You cosplay the characters that you love.
Right. And it's just, you know, insert whatever ethnicity. It didn't matter who you were before you put on the costume. Once you put on the costume, it was clear you were a fan and you loved what you loved. And at the end of the day, it shouldn't matter whether you're in costume or not. Yeah.
One of my favorite cosplays that I saw this week was, it was a Peruvian fella walking around dressed as Anakin, blowing a whistle and blasting Peruvian music.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yes. And as he walked by, he winked at me, which made me feel special. And he was walking around with a Peruvian stormtrooper. And I was like, this is rad. This is the best cosplay I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, and they were busy yesterday, but at the Galaxy's Edge Square, there was an absolutely adorable family dressed as Galen, Lyra, and Jin.
They
and
were so
like
cute.
Little 3-year-old Jin.
And like Jim Cadbro. He was dressed as Jyn Erso, and he looked awesome.
He looked fantastic. And so it's stuff like that where it's just like,
be who you love.
Be who you love. And yeah, so it was great to see all of that on display and celebrated at Celebration.
And all that to say, I will be Waxer soon.
She's been convinced, folks.
I've been convinced. I've got everything I need in the cart on Etsy. So
there you go.
Get ready. Waxer's coming.
And so the only other thing was the closing ceremony there, which was just recaps. They showed trailers over again.
Most of them.
Most of them. Some people are still bitter about that Mandalorian one. You should really check Reddit.
We've already seen it.
You know, they just basically went over everything, and they showed a great video of fans. I'm not sure exactly how they got all that, or I think it was mostly random, but...
Yeah. Well, there were people walking around with cameras all over the place.
Yeah, so they showed a lot of footage of fans just being like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, this is my first time, this is my 10th time, this is, you know, just celebration, and it was just really great, lots of fun. And so, yeah, it was a great way to kind of recap. And you could hear it everywhere you went around the floor, which was really nice. So, and it kind of goes in alongside with, we shared some art on our Twitter page that has blown up because people just love Star Wars so much. And it's all of the Star Wars titles, and it is primarily canon. You know, it's all the canon stuff in chronological order, but... And
that's not to discount, you know, Legends, the Holiday Special, anything.
No, at the end of the day, just because it's not pictured, it doesn't mean it's not in our hearts. And at Nick_is_sad with 2 Ds is the one who put that together. And so thank you, Nick, for doing that and sharing it and just being awesome, because clearly everyone loves Star Wars and celebrates Star Wars, every part of it. And that's what's been so amazing about this week and with that post is the interactions. I just responded to 20 this morning of people commenting and just having those interactions of, this is amazing. All of it is amazing. Everything about Star Wars is amazing. And even if you don't think it's the greatest, just try it from a certain point of view. There's always something positive and great about everything that is Star Wars. And so, that's been the biggest great takeaway from all of this, is how much people love Star Wars. And to be surrounded by that for a week, it's amazing, and it's going to be so crazy when we can't do that anymore. But we've loved the opportunity to do that. And although we won't be there next year, well, I won't say that entirely. Who knows? We're not planning on it.
We're not planning on it currently.
So it'll be a pleasant surprise if it happens. But until the next time, we are just going to be celebrating Star Wars in our own way with our YouTube channel, our podcast, and just with ourselves. We're going to do everything we can to just be more about celebrating Star Wars and the positivity it holds and the impact that it has on people. And so part of that is, we just want to leave you with what to expect next from us.
Get ready. It's going to be a lot.
A lot. So our main show is going to be happening tomorrow. I know a lot of people, especially Rebecca, were hoping we would take a break. No. No rest for the weary. We're probably going to regret that later, but that's what coffee was made for. So we are going to be back with our main show tomorrow. That's our podcast. You can check the links in the description of this video if you aren't already subscribed to that or connected to that. Our home base is on anchor.fm, but you can also find us on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pocket Podcasts, so many more. We're on 10 different platforms, so you'll find us somewhere. And tomorrow we're going to be, again, talking about sort of, all right, a week later, post-celebration, we've watched trailers dozens of times. Let's kind of just open up how we've changed since we first saw these things. What kind of impact has this made on us? And so basically it's going to be a lot like our videos here expanded. So instead of just talking about a specific day or specific happenings, we're just going to open it up more to the overall experience and whatnot, and we're going to just chat about that. The good thing is we're not going to have news time, so it can be a little bit more conversation and whatnot. And so unless you guys send us questions, it's mostly just going to be us talking about Star Wars Celebration and all that great stuff. So hopefully you're enjoying that, because that's all you're going to get pretty much. Well, it's going to be different, but and next week on the main show, going to go ahead and remind you guys that the author Michael Marisi will be joining us again to talk his new novel, We Are Mayhem, which is fantastic. If you love Star Wars, if you love sci-fi, if you love Guardians of the Galaxy, and you just love adventure and great storytelling, We Are Mayhem is the book for you. And if you haven't already ordered it, then you can check out any one of you can check out our Twitter page.
Yes.
There's a tweet there about how you can win a copy of We Are Mayhem. We're giving away 2 copies for free, and we will be announcing the winners next week on the show with Michael. So if you want to enter in on that, check that out for free. You can enter that in, or you can just order the book and support Michael and his work, because it's worth it. It's fantastic stuff. And so then this Friday we're going to be back, of course, with Clone Wars, and we're going into the Obi-Wan Undercover episodes. So that's going to be interesting. And so we're chugging along. We're almost there with Clone Wars. We're about halfway with season 5, but it's getting there. I don't know what we're going to do next, but we're going to talk about Resistance and Rebels. That's what we're going to do next. And then as far as YouTube specifically, again, that was all podcast. Check the link in the description on how to get there. But for YouTube, we're going to be doing an episode all about Episode 9. We're going to do an episode all about Mandalorian. We're going to do an episode all about Jedi Fallen Order. And all of those are going to be about 30-minute episodes where we just talk about those trailers and the information shared and what we know and what we think. Yes. And so those are going to be where the meat is for those things. So if you specifically want to know more of what we think and glean from those trailers and information, those videos are going to be your best friend. Those will be coming out within the next week or so. We're also going to be doing a review of Master and Apprentice, because that just released today. Yes. So make sure you check that out. If you still need your copy, you can check out any of our most recent episodes on the podcast, and you can order it through there. We have a link for you. We're also going to be starting comic reviews soon. Yes. I'm up to date on everything. You're getting there?
I'm getting there. I'm in the middle of the Mon Cala arc and Vader.
So we're going to go back in time, start at the beginning of the Star Wars main run and the Darth Vader series, and we're just going to spend about 15 minutes a week just talking about those comics and discussing those and having fun with that. Yep. And so if you're into comics and want our point of view, that's there for you.
Or if you're too lazy to read comics and you just want to hear people talk about it, that's valid too.
There you go.
I do that with a lot of movies that I don't want to see.
And so those videos will be for everybody. So check those out. I know several people, Rebecca and others, who aren't comic readers, but if you want the story, maybe check out our videos.
There you
go. And then we're also going to be just doing fun videos starting soon. Fun hangout videos where we just have fun.
Chill.
It's not going to necessarily teach you anything about Star Wars. It's just going to be hopefully something that you can watch and enjoy and, feel like you're hanging out with us. And so that's that. That's Nerdherder for the next few weeks, guys. It's going to be packed out with a lot of stuff, but we are happy to do it and happy to share it with you because, wow.
Yeah.
Star Wars is amazing.
It is.
Every part.
Every single part of it.
And every
Yes.
part means you guys as well. You guys are awesome. You who watch our videos, listen to our episodes, you who came up and met us at Celebration, those who we hadn't had a chance to meet. Nonetheless, you're all amazing. You're all wonderful. And thank you so much for giving us an audience to do what we want to do. We would record these anyway, but it's a lot less weird if there's actually people watching and listening. So thank you for being on the other side of the microphone and camera. We appreciate you.
Yes, we do. In fact.
And so with that, we're going to get ready to travel back home, sadly. It's going to be a depressing ride back home, but we are ready to see our cats, and we are ready to rest in our own beds, and ready to get back to work on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I have been your herd leader, John Wayne.
And I've been your herd mom, Megan.
Stay scruffy, guys. Keep celebrating Star Wars, and may the Force be with you.
Bye!